next to people like Don Messick and Mel Blanc. I can only equate that to when I went to my first Comic Con and I met my favorite comic book writer of all time, Scott Snyder.
Yeah.
I'm sitting there like Fred Flintstone. Da, 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 I couldn't talk. I couldn't get anything out. When you're sitting there with those two gentlemen, Hall of Famers, Mount Rushmore, those two gentlemen right there.
Yeah.
What were you thinking? Like, were you like, oh man, how the hell did I get here? Or what was that thought process just sitting there watching your heroes?
Well, I actually had the benefit of stopping in the booth first.
Mhm.
I can back the story up just slightly. Gordon Hunt, who was doing all of the voice direction at Hanna-Barbera in those days, was also a great theater director, TV director. He has a real eye for everything. He had seen me in a play that I was doing in Los Angeles, and he asked to say hello after the play. And actually, I had gone in as an understudy that night. He saw it and he took note, and he said, "Geez, if you're as versatile as what I just saw on stage, we should know about you at Hanna-Barbera."
Yeah.
And me, who can be polite at my own expense, I, I, I felt the clock stop. And I thought, if I say thank you, he'll forget this by the time he gets to his car. So instead, I said, well, you know what? You've had my demo for months now. If you could move it from the bottom of the pile to the top, geez, I'd love to be doing what. So he said, you got a lot of nerve, don't you? And I said, normally never, but if this is opportunity, I'm not going to mistake it for anything other than what it is.
Yeah.
And he said, good for you. He said, you busted me. He called me in. I'm leading up to that session, but he called me in for something very peripheral within the next week, introduced me to the room, and said, I think this is one of the new kids. I want you to welcome him. He's where he's supposed to be. So I guess it was within a week of that, he had me in again.
Mhm.
And this was for what was then the New Adventures, the New Jetsons, same cast basically. And I play Curly Quasar, and I have a blind date with Judy Jetson, and the episode still airs, and it's so great. Uh, but I stopped at the booth to say hi and to say thank you and to whatever. I'm not worthy. He said, you are exactly where you're supposed to be. You're with who you're supposed to be with. He said, I don't get freaked out. He said, I'm seating you next to Mel Blanc because I want you to feel that you are with the people you should be with and doing exactly what you should be doing. Who gets that in their lifetime? But
Nobody
that was my
really.
real life. So I walked in not entitled, but emboldened. I
Mhm.
walked in with a sense of the rightness of me being there. He gave the same speech to them and said he had seen me and he'd been impressed and blah blah blah, and please welcome and please welcome. So it kind of, at least for that very beginning moment, became enough about me to break the ice, and everybody was so warm and welcoming. So whether or not I would have been tongue-tied 5 minutes before that sort of didn't matter anymore, because I had already been welcomed in.
That's a fantastic story. Thank you for sharing that. I really
Yeah,
appreciate it.
man.
When you were doing I don't think I don't know if I remember, if I just didn't hear it, but what were you working on when you showed up that day with Mel Blanc and Don Messick?
It was the New
The
Jetsons.
new Jet. Okay, that's right.
Still,
I thought so.
and Janet Waldo was still playing Judy Jetson, and Dawes Butler was Elroy, and Don Messick. Uh, Everybody was everybody. Gene
Yeah,
Vanderpyle. It was the Jetsons, and I was uh, waltzed in. The episode still airs. It's a proud part of my resume, and like that.